Well, here we are, 10 years later, from that summer afternoon, me quitting my job and walking into the fateful A&P grocery store. Not much has changed since then. I'm kidding. A lot has changed since then. Grown about 6 inches, sported a nice bearded look going on. The wife certainly loves it, which I'll get to later. More importantly, I don't go chasing young girls and quitting my jobs. At this point in life, there are only 2 women worth getting googly-eyed for, and that's my wife and my daughter. I think I have their photographs here. Just one second so I can find it. Here we go. These 2 women right here are hands down the best thing to ever happen to me. Second best was quitting that terrible job at A&P. Funny enough, how my wife and I met, ironically even. It's a beautiful love story, but again, ironic at that. We met at the beach near the Cape. She was wearing a beautiful, gorgeous bathing suit. She stood more radiant than anyone I had ever seen, even Queenie. I think you guys remember Queenie. What drove me to strike up a conversation, even at that point, was unbeknownst to me. And as you may know, I tend to quit jobs and defy authority when a beautiful woman is involved. And I knew at this point she had to be mine. We laughed and joked on the sand, listening to the crashing waves. Her voice was smooth and she spoke oh so softly. Her tan had no blemishes. Her lips were just gently sun-kissed. And I walked her home knowing that one day I'd make her my queen. We went on a date for a little while and eventually, we got married. We then moved close to the Cape, where I attended a small college for business. I could never really escape my pull to the beach, especially given that's where I met my bride there. And 3 years ago, we had a beautiful daughter, and thankfully, she looks exactly like her mother, and that is a huge blessing. You may also be wondering what the heck happened between me and my parents after that summer day. And I remember looking back. I remember walking home, and just my legs felt like lead, just weight in my shoes, dragging on the sand. That's probably the longest mile I think I've ever had to walk. And I kept replaying scenarios over and over and over in my head, trying to figure out, what's the best response possible for any possible question that might come up, because I knew my parents were probably going to have a lot of them. I walked up to the porch and I go to knock on the door, and for whatever reason I don't know why, it's just nerves, and I finally came to my senses and realized, wait, this is my house, what am I doing? And I worked my way into the front porch and into the dining room, just to the right of the front door, and both my parents were in there. And I sat down at the dinner table across from my dad, and my mom was just over in the kitchen. And I knew this was going to be hard. My parents had great expectations for me, but I had to say what had happened. There was no getting around it, and I kind of nervously stated it first. Quit my job. And they both kind of looked at me, and my mom had asked, "What'd you say?" And I finally stumbled and blurted out, "I quit my job." And this look of just sheer horror overtook my mom. I remember the look on her face even to this day. It's just funny and comical to look back at it now. But my dad is even better. His expression, never wavered. He just remained stoic the entire time. And my mom, of course, being my mom, started to ramble on. Well, how could you? We raised you better than that. I kept going on and on and on. Just a whole blur at this point. But my father, again, just remained quiet, just sitting at the table. And finally, after a couple minutes, he stood up and he spoke, and he only said one line, and it still sticks with me to today. And he looked at me and he said, that grocery store never had my favorite pop anyway. And I had to do nothing but crack a smile. Even now it makes me laugh just looking back at it, and with the thought, expecting like my dad to get angry or anything of that nature, and he didn't. He just said that one thing, and that was it. And I remember I just cracked my smile, and I got up and I asked if I can be excused. And looking back that afternoon 10 years ago, funny in the moment, but I hung my head as I regretted leaving that job, and sure, it felt commendable in my eyes. What would life look like now? Well, when I get another job, as I mentioned earlier, I pursued business when I had met my wife. Even more irony to this whole story is I went on to manage a large grocery chain market. Who would have thought? 10 years removed from my wild 19-year-old self, my store is profitable. My staff thoroughly enjoys working for me. And sure, young kids walk in and out and quit like I did. I can't help but smile. They'll learn. Maybe their life isn't over, but maybe there are bigger things worth fighting over. And I'll never really, fully make amends with myself for walking out. I mean, even to this day, I still keep, one of the aprons that I've got, from there, just kind of as like a reminder, And, I do know that I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't done what I had done. Everything happens for a reason. And although I didn't see it then, I see it now. And you can sure as heck be assured that if you walk into my store today, there's a decal that's on the door that says shirt and shoes required.